Hey everybody, I'm John from California Leasing. I'm with my good friend Teresa here at Honu Coffee. We just want to chat about real estate today. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
Super good to have you. Yeah, good to see you
Thank
too.
you.
Always fun to hang out with a friend.
Yes.
Drink some coffee or water if you've already had your allotment of coffee.
Yes.
And geek out on real estate. It's like my favorite thing to talk
Yes.
about. So we were chatting a little bit before we started, and I just want to pose a question, kind of a role playing with you.
Sure.
And we can go through this because I think there are a lot of people that are either in this situation or are going to be in this situation, and maybe we can offer some tips.
Sure.
So let's say that I have just come to the point where we're going to sell our house. So I don't know how to do that. What's the first thing I should do? Is it to get on Zillow and see what it's worth? Is it to replace the carpet? What's the first thing I should do?
That's a very good question. I think a lot of people struggle with what's the right timing to do something like that. It's my recommendation that before you do anything, you contact a realtor.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that are involved within that process that you may not be aware of. That's not what you do every day.
Totally.
So the first question I'm going to ask when someone calls me, I'm thinking of selling my home, is kind of a weird sounding question, but it's like, why do you want to sell your home?
Right.
And the reason I ask that is, are they moving out of state to where they can just sell their home and go? Or are they looking to downsize, or do they want to upgrade? So in that case, then they're going to be looking for another home at the same time. So with that being said, if I know that they're going to be looking at another home, we're trying to get everything done as much in advance as possible to eliminate a lot of the stress.
Right. That can be a very stressful transaction.
Yes, it can be, because you're selling this one, you're buying this one, there's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so the reason I ask that question is so that we can upfront take care of things. I'm going to ask them, have you spoken with your lender yet? Do you know if you can afford to do this? Let's think that through. I don't want any of my clients to ever be in a pickle. I want them to feel comfortable about their decision and what they're doing. So if they don't have a great lender, or their lender that they used for the previous purchase, the home that they're currently in is no longer working in the area, then I can give them the names of some great lenders that are here local in the Santa Clarita Valley.
We have some good ones.
Yeah, and if they're looking in the Antelope Valley, I know great lenders up in the Antelope Valley, or wherever it is that would be local to that area.
So let me ask you a little bit of a challenging question.
Okay.
Because if I'm honest, the thought of picking up the phone and calling a real estate agent, that's not something I necessarily want to do, because I'm thinking about things like, oh no, now I'm going to get all these sales calls, or I'm going to get this high pressure, let's get your property listed. So why would someone pick up the phone and call you first and not need to feel those kind of things? Like, what makes you different when they pick up the phone and call you?
Well, I think that the biggest issue is trust. Anybody that's going to work with anyone, they're going to work with somebody that they know and trust. And we have a lot of great realtors here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Yeah, we do.
And so in my case, I work on referral. All of my clients that I have worked with have been wonderful and referred me to other people.
Awesome.
So ask your friend, who do you use? Because then they can recommend somebody that they know and trust. That's key. You want to know that person, you want to trust them. It's hard, just like, now I'm going to date myself here, my age, looking through the yellow pages. Nobody does that anymore, right? But
yeah.
I mean
that's the
you know the
equivalent
term,
of a Google
right?
search. Yeah.
Right, exactly, or a Google search. It's going to be hard to try to find somebody that you don't know. So reach out, ask people that you know. Who do you recommend?
So now I ask somebody and they tell me, call Teresa Metro. So I call you. What are you going to tell me? Now I tell you why I want to move. And, what's next? Like, what does this look like? Just sign the contract? Like, what do I need to do?
Okay, so I've asked you that first question. Are you going to be trying to buy another home? So then we're going to get that process going to where you get pre-approved and you know what you can afford, or if you can afford it. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to your home. Well, I have a video I'm going to send you that also explains what I do, so that you kind of get an idea ahead of time. Then I'm going to come to your home and I'm going to bring my home stager with me. Now, my home stager is fantastic, and I know that because she's worked with many of my clients, And she also is the decorator for my own home. My husband and I just remodeled our home.
Oh, nice.
And so we know all the great contractors, and Julie was great. That's my home stager. She's great at being able to help figure out what needs to happen. So she's going to come with me. And let me just say really quick here, these items that I'm going to be mentioning to you that I'm going to be doing and that first part of that process, I pay for. I'm not asking my clients to pay for that. I feel like that's my job to provide that for them.
So you're not going to come over and ask for money right away?
No. And actually, I'm not even going to have them sign the contract. I'm trusting them that, and I'll ask them, are you going to interview other agents? That's great. I think you should do that. But once I know you're going to use me, then we'll start this, because they spend a lot of money up front.
Okay.
So I feel like that's in the best interest of the client, so that they know what they're getting into.
Okay.
So Julie will come over, we will walk through the home, and then she will give them recommendations. Now, she's not just a great designer, she's also a licensed realtor.
Okay.
So she knows what buyers look for. You may have a gorgeous home that is just perfect to your taste, but what we're trying to appeal to are the buyers.
Yep.
And so we're trying to make it very appealing to the masses, in other words. So we're going to go through the house and make suggestions. Now, you can do all of them, none of them, or some of them. That's up to the buyer. I mean the seller. Sorry, I've got to get the right hat on. That's up to the seller. So we'll go through the home, and then that also sets a time frame. Because if Julie says, you know, I've had clients say, oh, I'm going to rip out the carpet and do this. And the typical question for that, or the typical answer for that would be, don't do that. Instead, do this, because odds are, you're choosing carpet that you like, but that other person that comes in may want hardwood floors.
Yep.
And then you're going to have wasted your money, because they're going to rip it up anyway. So we'll make suggestions. It's going to be the most money-saving options for you, and still put your home in its best light.
Okay.
And so
so I don't need to guess what I need to do to get the house rented. I need to meet with you.
Yes.
And you can tell me, here's what we need to do before we ever put the home on the market.
Exactly. And then that sets that time frame. If it's like, oh wow, this home is in really great shape, let's move that couch over there, because Julie's going to use the items you have to save you money. You're going to be packing to move anyway, so let's box all this up and put it in storage. You know, those types of things. It's going to help your home look its best. And then whenever the client says, well, I think I can have that done next week, or oh, I think I need about a month to do that, that sets the time frame. Because the next thing I'm going to do is, once that home is ready, I'm going to bring out my photographer and an appraiser. And so you're going to go, appraiser? Wait a minute, what's this all about? Well, comps are great whenever you're trying to tell people what their home is worth.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're looking at the comps, and I'm not in every single one of those homes, and the appraiser knows how to adjust that. And so I'll bring the photographer, and I bring the photographer and appraiser the same day.
Okay.
So it's not to inconvenience everybody. You know, we're all there at the same time. And let's start with the photographer. My photographer's phenomenal. He comes in with a drone and flies over the neighborhood, so you can kind of get an overall picture. He also does still photos, and then he has a gimbal on his camera to where he's walking through the home. So whenever it hits the internet, and you know, pictures are really important. That's the first thing people see. So they have to be great. It can't be something I do with a cell phone. It's got to be professional, and they've got to be great photographs. So he's going to take those pictures, and they're going to be in there as well. But then as he's walking through the home with this gimbal, it's like you're walking through the home.
Right.
So you're getting a tour of the home just by clicking a button, and then you get to see, oh, you're looking around the whole room. So he's
now,
doing that.
Let me clarify. I still haven't signed the listing.
No, you have not.
That's crazy.
You haven't.
Okay.
I know people say that to me all the time. I just think it's best. And so then that's being done. The appraiser, and I use a local licensed appraiser. His name is Joe Kubis, and he's phenomenal. I've worked with Joe for many years now.
Awesome.
And so he will come to the home. He's been doing appraisals, I say, for at least 25 years. So it's not his first rodeo.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. And so he'll come in and he'll appraise the home, and it's as is condition. And then what he'll do is he gives, so that we can stay in compliance with our contracts, and that we don't say this is what you have to price your home for. That's the seller's choice. He'll give a range. If you want to sell it within this time, then I recommend this price. If you don't care and you want a longer period, I recommend this time. And it just depends on where the market's headed. And so then we have a very accurate value for that home. Now,
So now we have you've come out. The home stager Julie has come out
yes.
and made recommendations on what to do. The photographers come out, shot the photos, the gimbal, the drone. The appraisers come out, figured out
Right.
what the price is, and that's all stuff that I wouldn't be able to do on my own before signing a listing and calling a realtor.
Well, I suppose you could do it on
I mean,
your
I guess
own.
you could.
Yeah, you
but-
could. But who do you know who to ask,
Right.
and how do you know what they're going to do? And then you'd be paying for it,
Right.
whereas I'm paying for that. So that saves you some money there. And so then while we're waiting now, because the photographer, his turnaround is about 24 hours
Okay.
to get the pictures. The appraiser,
Pretty fast.
It is pretty fast. He's great. He's really great. The appraiser, it depends on how his workload is. I mean,
Okay.
it could take him anywhere from 3 days to 5 days to
Okay.
get that done. So while all this is going on, while you're working on your home, while we're waiting to hear back from the appraiser, we're working on disclosures. Now, here's the reason for that. In the contract, when you get a buyer, the contract states what you would go to, which is normally written within the contract, is that the seller has 7 days to get to the buyer all the disclosures. And by that I mean everything you know about that home and things that could affect its value, things that were broken that you repaired. If there was ever a water leak in the home, how you fixed that and when that happened. All of those things have to be disclosed to the buyer.
Yeah, and now I'm having flashbacks of going through and signing disclosures.
Right, exactly. You know what that's like. There's like a lot of paperwork
A lot
there.
of papers.
Yeah. And it can be stressful. So this is my opinion, 7 days is not a very long period of time
No,
to
that
remember
goes by really
everything.
fast.
And then it's stressful that you're trying to figure all this stuff out and find another home and all of those things. So by doing it up front, we're limiting that stress. So the most that we can get done up front, the better off everyone is. Now we can focus on keeping your house clean, so that
Yeah.
when people are coming in, and then you're not searching for your new home. You're not worried about, oh, did I forget this or did I forget that? So that's what
I
we do.
love it. Honestly, I've been doing this a long time. What you're offering, I've never heard of before. And I know
thank you.
a lot of real estate agents. So when you said you wanted to talk about what you're going to do when you make the decision to sell your home, honestly, you surprised me.
I did.
This was such good information.
Thank
When you're
you.
talking about getting a real estate agent's professional opinion, a home stager, the photography done, an appraisal before listing. I've never heard of that in my life, but that is extremely valuable. I mean, that's amazing. So that is why you sold me on calling a real estate agent before
Good.
doing all of my own homework before selling the house.
Well, I'm glad I could.
Oh, so good. That's such valuable information.
Thank you. I'm hoping that if anybody has any other questions, they can feel free to give me a call.
Yeah.
I'm happy to.
We're going to get your contact
Okay,
information
sure.
for them. And I just want to tell you, I know Teresa. I know who she is as a person. She's not lying. And what she's offering is super unique. Highly recommend you call her if you're going to sell your house.
Thank you, John.
Seriously. Good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Good to see you,
Really
too.
good to see you.